Today, I'm really excited to share this beautiful tall dresser with you guys. It is the third and final dresser in the classic dresser series that I've been sharing, and it has 7 drawers, 4 smaller drawers on top, and these 3 large drawers on the bottom for tons of storage. And I'm so excited because it matches perfectly with both the 6-drawer dresser and the 4-drawer dresser that I've already shared. Plus, I've already shared a nightstand to match. I've got one more nightstand coming up that I'll be sharing, but for now, let's build this dresser.
I started by cutting out all the plywood pieces. I have the complete cut list with cut diagrams in the PDF plans I'll link in the description. I put the plywood on a sheet of rigid foam insulation to help keep it supported, and it turns my smaller work table into a 4x8 surface. I can cut into the insulation over and over, and it keeps all the cutoffs supported, or you can use it on the floor the same way. Then I break down my plywood sheets with my circular saw. For this dresser, I first ripped the sheet down into strips with a rip cut guide. Then I used the AccuCut guide to cross cut the pieces to the finished length. The rest of the pieces are from 1x2 and 2x2 boards, which I cut to length using my miter saw. I started by building the sides of the dresser. I added pocket holes to the short edge of the trim pieces, making sure to center the boards carefully in the jig. Then I added pocket holes to the perimeter of the side panel pieces. For the top and bottom of the panel, the pocket holes are set in a bit from the edge so they do not get in the way of the pocket holes on the trim pieces when I attach them. I started assembling the sides by first attaching a trim piece to the top and bottom of each side panel. These were secured with 1 1/4 inch pocket hole screws and wood glue. Once both trims were attached, I added one leg board to one side so that it was flush with the front and back of the trim, leaving the panel set in from the front 3/4 inches. Then I attached the decorative trim piece on the bottom so it was centered on the leg and just 1.5 inches up from the floor. The pocket hole on the underside of this piece keeps it hidden when the dresser is assembled. Once all the pieces were attached to one leg, I attached the second leg to the other side, making sure to line everything up the same. Then repeated it so I had 2 sides. Next, I added pocket holes to the front trim boards and front dividers. The divider goes between 2 of the trim pieces to create a frame around the 4 smaller drawers at the top of the dresser. I used a face clamp to help hold the boards together when creating the T in the middle. To attach the 2 sides together, I started by attaching the finished front frame to one of the sides. I set the frame back from the front of the legs 1/4 inch. I found it was easiest to do this by placing scraps of 1/4 inch MDF under the frame to keep the pieces spaced while I secured it. Then I attached the rest of the front trim pieces so they were spaced to fit the larger bottom drawers as detailed in the plans. Again, making sure they were set back from the front 1/4 inch. Once all the front pieces were attached to one of the sides, I attached them all to the other side, making sure the spacing was identical to the first. For the back, I added 2x2 boards to the back, one at the top, one at the bottom, and one at the bottom of the small drawer area. I also added a matching 1x2 trim piece to the bottom, similar to the decorative trim on the sides. I added a center plywood panel in between the smaller top drawer section, so I have a place to attach the drawer slides later. This was secured to the front frame and the back 2x2s with pocket holes, and now the frame was all done. I built the dresser drawers from 1/2 inch plywood for the sides and 1/4 inch plywood for the bottom. The bottom was inset into a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch groove. I cut this into all the drawer pieces by making multiple passes on my table saw, but you can also do it with a circular saw or router. I assembled all 7 drawer boxes with wood glue and 1-inch pneumatic staples. You can assemble them with pocket holes if you prefer. I have a detailed post on 3 easy ways to build drawer boxes on housefulofhandmade.com if you want more information on building drawers. I'll add a link to it below. To assemble the drawer boxes, I attached the front piece between the 2 sides. Then I slid the drawer bottom into the groove before attaching the back between the sides. Then I added a round over to the inside edge of all the drawer boxes. This is totally optional, but I like how it gets rid of the sharp plywood edge on the drawer and makes it look professional. I installed the 16-inch long drawer slides to each drawer section so they were set back 1 inch from the legs or 3/4 inch from the front of the frame. To keep the slides level to the dresser, I clamped a scrap of 3/4 inch plywood to the top of the frame and leveled it, then clamped it to the back. The slide was set on top of this while securing, which made the slide 3/4 inch up from the bottom of the drawer section. Then I attached the other part of the slide to the drawer box so it was 7/8 inch up from the bottom of the drawer to give the drawer box proper clearance. I have a post with tips and tricks for installing drawers on housefulofhandmade.com as well. To finish the drawer fronts, I ironed edge banding to the perimeter of all the pieces, then attached them to the drawer boxes so they were an 1/8 inch spacing all around. With the back of the dresser open, I was able to easily secure the drawer fronts temporarily with 1-inch brad nails. Then I could open the drawers and permanently attach the fronts with 1-inch screws in all 4 corners of the front of the drawer. Finally, it was time to attach the top. I removed the drawers, making sure to label them so they go back in the right spots. Then I flipped the dresser frame over onto the top piece. I drilled countersunk holes into the front and back top trim boards, then secured the top through these holes with some wood screws. I used 1-inch poles for the small drawers on top and 5-inch poles for the larger lower drawers.
And now my dresser is done. I built this dresser using alder 2x2s and 1x2s and alder plywood. I've sealed it with just a simple wood sealer, and I absolutely love the way it looks. It makes a perfect matching set with the other pieces in this series. And again, I've got one more nightstand to share next week, so stay tuned for that. And if you like this video, make sure to hit subscribe and follow along at housefulofhandmade.com for even more things for you to build for your home.